With the rise of Skywalker, Disney has now released 9 theatrically released movies of 2019. And I said I'm going to stop and rank them all today, so I'm not going to count Spider-Man Far From Home because that's not a Disney movie, that's a Sony movie. I'm not going to count Lady and Tramp because that was never released in theaters, it was straight to Disney Plus as well. Spies in Disguise, even though it's kind of being marketed as a Disney movie at the moment, and maybe Disney considers it, I'm not going to consider it because it was made by Fox. It was never made to be a Disney movie, so I'm not going to count it as a Disney movie. So I've got 9 theatrically released movies here, so I'm going to rank them from worst to best. And just one quick thing before I do get started, consider clicking the subscribe button to give you other movie reviews and movie rankings just like this one. And just always remember, this is my own personal opinion, so let me know your opinion on these movies down below. Let me know where you'd rank them from worst to best. But anyways, let's go on with number 9. And coming in at 9th place, I've got Dumbo 2019. When it comes to this movie, I wasn't really expecting much of it. I'm not really a massive fan of the animated movie, so when they announced they're doing like a live action remake, I thought it was a bit weird. Like, of all the movies you have, why would you choose Dumbo? Because I don't think many people are actually fans of this movie as well. It's not really a movie. It's kind of like an hour-long episode of a TV series. Because it either gets just over an hour or it's just under an hour. Because it's not really a long movie. And they were able to extend this movie out to about an hour 40, hour 50, if I remember correctly from the live-action movie. And it just feels like the first half is just exactly a shot for shot. Not really a shot for shot, but it's very much just a remake. And the second half is just a lot of, like the second half, I said it before, the second half it doesn't really feel like Dumbo. It feels a lot more like, I can't remember his name right now, but the director, it feels a lot more like the director's kind of vision of things. And when Michael Keaton comes in, that's when it gets really weird and bonkers. And it doesn't really feel like Dumbo from that point onwards. Because Dumbo as well, even though it's his movie, it's the title character, he's not really in this movie much. It really follows the two kids and their father throughout this movie. It's not really, oh yeah, Dumbo's the flying elephant. It's how the people are reacting to this flying elephant that really drives this movie along. And the characters I didn't think were they're not really, like, they're not even memorable. I can't remember any of the characters' names. So the fact that I remember Danny DeVito's in this movie, but even Danny DeVito, he's not really anything in this movie. Nothing about this movie is memorable. I seen this back in March. I can't really remember much of it, and I don't think I'll ever go back to see Dumbo again. And coming in at 8th place, I've got the Lion King remake. When it comes to the Lion King, I'm a massive fan of the original. I think the original is by far one of the best animated movies of all time. But this movie itself, I thought was a complete letdown. Like, I was actually anticipating this movie because I heard it was not a shot-for-shot remake, but it is. They think it's an extra 20 minutes longer, and that's just by adding a few other stories to this movie. But there's nothing added to this movie that changes the movie whatsoever. Like, if you look at the Beauty and the Beast remake, they add a few things. Like, you find out like how Belle's mother died, and you find out stuff like just not major, but you find out new stuff. If you look at Aladdin, nothing major has been changed, but they've kind of added a few new elements that kind of make the movie a lot more enjoyable. And just because they are live action with actual human, you get more features off them, which makes it look a lot better. But because this is just lines, there's no emotion whatsoever. Like, if you look at the scene where Mufasa dies, if you look Simba's reaction in the animated version versus the live action, the animated, you see fear, you see sorrow, you see sadness, you see all the emotions in his face at once. But if you look at the live action, you just see a line, it's a line just with its mouth slightly open as you hear him screaming no, and it's very off-putting as well. The music in this movie, even though if you look at Can You Feel the Love Tonight, if you look at the original, that feels like it blends in with the movie so well as well. It's actually at nighttime, where in the remake it's at daytime for some odd reason. But the song, it never feels like it's part of the movie. When I was listening to it, it felt like it was kind of, if you look at Beauty and the Beast again, you have the Ariana Grande and John Legend version of Tales All This Time. That's what this version felt like. It didn't feel like it was part of the movie. It felt like it was a cover at the end of the movie, where they have just get two random celebrities in to sing the song together. That's what it felt like to me, rather than part of the movie. It's just the whole idea of this movie I wasn't a fan of. Nothing was added. It was very bland. It's very forgettable. If I ever want to watch The Lion King, I'm just going to watch the animated version. And coming in at number 7, I've got Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. The only reason I actually have this movie above The Lion King and Dumbo is because it's a different story. The first two, like Dumbo and Lion King, they're very similar to the original. Even though this is a sequel to a remake, well, not a remake, a reimagining of Sleeping Beauty, it's a very different story. But my problem with this movie is it's Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, but she's the good guy. She's 100% the good guy. Michelle Pfeiffer is the villain in this movie, and she does horrible things. Where Maleficent, she's a hero. I don't understand why they decided to call it Mistress of Evil, because in the first movie she was very much anti hero, but this movie she's a straight up hero. So I don't understand why they decided to market it as this. As well, the end fight scene is by far the most entertaining part of this movie. It's the only entertaining part about this movie, I'd say. The first two acts are very dull and boring. You got Ellie Fanning, I think her name is, who plays Aurora, who's incredibly boring, and then Prince Philip, I don't know the actor's name, but he's just so dull, and every time he's on screen it just drags. So the only interesting parts was with Maleficent, and she's barely in this movie. For someone who's the title character to not be in this movie at all, it was very odd to see why she wasn't in this movie. It's very much Ellie Fan. It's really a sequel to Sleeping Beauty, like what happens after Sleeping Beauty, rather than a sequel to Maleficent 2. I've seen it twice in cinema. I went to see it once so I can actually review it, and the second time because my girlfriend really wanted to see it, and I think I'm happy enough to never watch Maleficent 2 again. And coming in at number 6, I've got Captain Marvel. Marvel's first attempt at a female solo movie is very, very divisive. I land on it, it's alright. It's not the worst Marvel movie, it's by far not the best Marvel movie, but Captain Marvel herself, she can be very bland. Because she doesn't have her memories, she can come across as she's very annoying, and just a lot of elements to her character I don't like. I think a lot of the reason people don't like this movie though is because of Brie Larson, but she's currently working on making people like her again. Like, I've never had a problem with Brie Larson. I've had her say some stuff, I'm like, yeah, why would you say that? But I've never actually had a problem at her. Samuel Jackson in this movie, he's good in it, but there's a lot of Nick Fury as well. He's kind of very bland. He doesn't feel like Nick Fury. He looks like Nick Fury, but he just doesn't really feel like him. As well, Jude Law, he's a good villain, but he's kind of one of those Marvel forgettable villains. Like, I can't remember his name, I can't remember what his element, I can't remember anything really about this character besides that Jude Law plays him. So nothing really about his character really stood out to me. The action sequences, especially the last action sequence in space, I thought that was phenomenal looking. I was expecting a lot more 90s references than I actually got. There wasn't many ones as well. As well, one of the best things I thought, I can't remember his name now, Talos. He was actually a great character. I wasn't expecting him to be as good and as memorable as he actually was. But when it comes to Captain Marvel, I've seen it twice in cinema. I've seen it maybe 2 times now since actually owning the physical copy. And it's not one I thought it would get better by rewatching it, but it kind of just stays the same with me. Coming in at number 5, I've got Aladdin. The first time I seen this movie, I did not like it, so I kind of said, okay, I'm gonna go back and see it in cinema again, because I figured, I don't know if it was the movie or if it was the crowd, because the crowd I was in was terrible. A lot of screaming kids running around punching the screen, and no one decided to say anything. People came in, said to their parents, but they never left. So I don't just the cinema was packed. You think the kids would have left, but so I said, I'm gonna go see this movie again, see if I like it, and I enjoyed it so much the second time. Since I own the physical copy, I haven't actually gone back to watch it yet. I do, because I only got it a couple of days ago. I'm planning on watching it sometime over Christmas, because I thought this movie was great. Will Smith in this movie is by far the standout. Genie, I wasn't like, when he announced him, I was like, Will Smith, really? But then I started thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, Will Smith, that's perfect casting. If you can't get Robin Williams, Will Smith is by far the next best thing. His singing is good, but it's nothing like, I think Robin Williams versions are better, except for Prince Ali. I thought Prince Ali was a lot better in this movie than it was in the animated movie, because it's meant to be a massive song. I felt like it was just a lot bigger in this movie than it was in the animated movie. Naomi Scott is Jasmine. She's good. She's a lot better than Aladdin, who I actually don't know his name. But Naomi Scott she's good in this movie. Her singing in A Whole New World by far carries that song, because his singing kind of falls flat in that song. She's phenomenal in the song. As well, Aladdin, he's not standout. He kind of gets pushed to the sidelines, even though he's in the center of the poster. He gets pushed to the sidelines by the 2 people who are actually on the side. As well, Jafar, I didn't like Jafar. He's way too young, and he's more attractive than he should have been. For Jafar to be a real slimy snake, as he turns into in the animated movie, and the fact that he's not really anything like that in this movie, it kind of put it down a bit for me, just because he's a lot better in the animated version, which he should have been a lot better in this movie. And coming in at number 4, I had to go with Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Even though I'm very mixed in this movie, I don't know how I feel. It's Star Wars. Just because being in Star Wars, it made me enjoy the movie. Even though I do have problems with it, even the worst Star Wars movie, I can still watch it and get enjoyment in it just because it's Star Wars and I love this franchise. I do have many problems with it, but there is loads of elements that I do enjoy. I saw C-3PO was probably one of the best he's ever actually been. Kylo Ren, even though he's probably been the best part about this entire sequel trilogy, his just character arc has been such a unique and such an interesting character arc that we've never actually seen before. Luke is Luke. Leia is Leia. Like, my only problem is probably Emperor Palpatine. I've said it before in my other reviews. I don't like Emperor Palpatine in this movie. Just what they did with him, I'm not really a fan of what they did. The way this saga ends, Rey, Finn, and Poe, I don't think will ever be remembered as fondly as Luke, Han, and Leia, which I never expected them to be, because I don't remember the prequel trilogy. You've got Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Padme. I don't remember them as fondly as Han, Luke, and Leia. I don't think anyone is ever going to be remembered as fondly as those three. But they did such a good job in this film alone. I think they did the best they've ever done in a Star Wars movie, those three in this movie. And so they finish out on top, where they didn't kind of finish out kind of really bad. Didn't know where it was going to go, because I've been very mixed on these three characters. I didn't know if I liked them or hate them. I've always liked Poe. Finn, I've been right in the middle, and Rey, I've been in the middle too. I didn't know where I was going to land these three, but after this movie, I think I'm going to remember these three characters very fondly. And coming in at number 3, I've got Frozen 2. I've seen this movie twice in cinema. I did my review and my ranking of all the Disney Revival Age movies after seeing it the first time, and I didn't know how I feel, but after seeing it the second time, I'm starting to think this movie's better than the first, because I thought the story in this movie was just so action-packed. Elsa's story in this movie is by far a lot better than the first. Olaf in this movie is a lot funnier than he was in the first. Anna, I think she's better in the first. Same with Kristoff. I think Kristoff really struggles to have a plot in this movie. But this music in this movie, I thought there's a lot of music. I was saying I don't think anything is better than Let It Go. I think Show Yourself is the best song in the Frozen franchise. I just can't get over how amazing that song is. Even though it's very, very slow at the start and it goes bigger, just her voice in that song, as well as the actual sequence in the movie, is absolutely phenomenal. I can't wait to own the physical copy of Frozen 2, because I have a feeling I'm going to watch it a lot more than I actually watch Frozen. I watch Frozen every couple of months. I think I'm going to watch Frozen 2 a lot more. It's just a story in this movie. It's a lot bigger. It's very unique. I was never expecting this kind of story going into it, because the only trailer I seen for this movie going into it was the one where there's no words whatsoever. So kind of leading into this movie, I was really excited to see how it's going to play out. And it's just, this movie, it didn't play out like I thought it was going to. And coming at number 2, I've got Avengers Endgame. This movie is bloody incredible. The third act of this movie is phenomenal. All our heroes fighting up against Thanos. And okay, I'm going to go into spoilers, because this movie's been out almost half a year. Why haven't you seen this yet? But everything in this movie, like, you got Hulk sacrificing his arm. His arm is literally destroyed now. You got Tony Stark sacrificing himself. I was expecting either him or Captain America to go out. I didn't expect it this way. I don't know. I didn't know what I was expecting, but the way this happened, I was like, holy crap. You get Captain America going back in time to live with Peggy Carter. I was expecting, that was the kind of end I was expecting for Captain America. I never thought he'd die, just because it's Captain America. I don't think he's gonna die that way, so I just felt very like, okay, I never knew he was gonna die. I knew this is how his story was gonna have to end, just because he's a man out of time. The way to end the story of a man out of time is to put him back to where he belongs. Thanos, my problem with Thanos is, it's not the Thanos who snapped his fingers, so he doesn't have the knowledge of everything from Infinity War, so it just feels like he's only fighting the fight rather than our heroes who are fighting to get the world back, to get the universe back to the way it was. So the fact that they're fighting a different Thanos, I wasn't really a massive fan of that, but the kind of the twist at the start where Thor actually chopped his head off, I was like, holy shit, he just killed Thanos. What's this movie going to be about because of them? And while we're on the fact of Thor Bowski is just like, what? I was like, and that came up, and I seen his big beard. I'm like, oh, his beard is massive. And I seen his stomach. I'm like, oh shit, his stomach is massive. And I was like, holy crap. And the fact that in the third act, he doesn't just, as soon as he gets his suit back on, he doesn't lose all his weight, and he's massive as well. I kind of like that. And the suit, Captain America picks up his hammer. I was like, oh my god, there was so many scenes in this movie, I was like losing my shit. And it's very hard to talk about this movie in a 2-minute window, so I'm gonna wrap this up now. But the only reason this does not come in at number 1 is because my number 1 just hit me so well. And coming in at number 1, I've got Toy Story 4. I thought this story was phenomenal. It's not a story I thought how it was going to play out, because I watched the first trailer, as I tend to do lately. I just watched the first trailer because I didn't really want to know how this story was going to play out. I thought Woody and Bo, their relationship was so strong in this. Woody himself, it was a different kind of Woody. It's never a Woody we've really seen before. The Woody in this movie was just so desperate. He was just so desperate to have someone love him, because Bonnie didn't really care about him. All he was doing was reflecting back on the good old days with Andy, and just Bonnie just wasn't doing that for him. Buzz is he's not really a major player in this movie. They kind of make him out to be a joke, where he's got that one joke where he's talking to his conscience all the time, which I wasn't really a fan of. But it was funny at first, but it kept going. I'm like, okay, I don't like what they're doing with Buzz. Bo in this movie, I was shocked by, because Bo was never really a standout character in the first two, but she really is a main player in this movie, and she really takes Jesse's spot. Because like in the second one, Toy Story 2, Jesse takes Bo's spot, and Bo comes straight back like, no, you're not taking my spot, and takes her spot back in Toy Story 4. And Bo is phenomenal in this movie. All our new characters, as you see, got Ducky, or not Ducky, Duke, Kaboom, and Forky. They're great in this movie. Both of them are absolutely hilarious. You got Ducky and Bunny as well, who are even funnier. I don't know how they're funnier, because these two are hilarious. And when Ducky and Bunny are singing their song in the roof, I thought that was great. You got Gabby and Benson's, who the Bensons are creepy as shit. And Gabby is, she's a very unique villain for the Toy Story universe. It's not something I was never expecting her villain to go the way it did, and I was really excited by the way it did go. And as well, I don't, spoilers, of course, spoilers. This movie's also almost out a year, like, or half a year. How have you not seen this yet? But the twist at the end, which I wasn't really expecting, that Woody left his friends to go live with Bo. I was like, oh crap, I did not expect this, and like I teared up. Like, I know a lot of people saying the Toy Story 4 didn't really build up the emotions for you to tear up at the end, but I wasn't thinking about just this movie. I was thinking about this franchise I grew up watching. I watch these movies all the time. Like literally last night, I watched Toy Story 3. And I love the ending in this movie. But that Woody is now a Bo. He's out being a lost toy, and the gang are all still together with Bonnie. I think they're gonna do a Toy Story 5. Just the way they leave this, they're gonna do a Toy Story 5, and I'd love to see it from Buzz's perspective, because Buzz, ever since the first movie, has very much been sidelined. It's usually been all about Woody. I'd like to see a bit more of Buzz. I'd like to see Woody and Buzz be reunited again, just because the way they end together, I loved it. But I always keep thinking about the end of the scene in Toy Story 2, when Woody's saying, well, whatever happens, I'll have all Buzz Lightyear to keep me company. And the fact that doesn't happen, it kind of upsets me a bit.
You still worried?
About Andy? Nah. It'll be fun while it lasts.
I'm proud of you, cowboy.
Besides, when it all ends, I'll have old Buzz Lightyear to keep me company. For infinity and beyond.
The fact that Woody's a Bo and he's happy, I'm kind of glad that way. And this story was phenomenal. The animation in this movie was absolutely beautiful. Like, if you look at that scene at the start of the movie with the rain is phenomenal. And the cat in this movie looks like a real cat. Everything about this movie I think is phenomenal. I think it's a perfect movie. My brother watches this all the time, so I end up watching this movie all the time. And it doesn't get old for me. It's a movie that I just think is just a phenomenal movie. And every time it's on, I think I'm going to sit down and watch it. So that's my ranking of all 9 Disney theatrically released movies of 2019. I know we're going to have different opinions. There's no way in hell we're all going to have the same opinion. These are 9 movies, and most of them, like up until I think maybe 6, are great movies. So there's no way we're going to have the same opinion. So let me know your opinion down below. I really want to hear everyone's opinions. I just think most of these, like up until probably actually 7, 8, and 9, I'm very mixed on. But after that, I think they're all good, enjoyable movies. So I want to see where they land for people, especially the first 2, because I think the first 2 are the main ones that people are going to go back and forth on a lot. So I want to hear people's opinions. So let me know your thoughts down below. Click that subscribe button so you see other movie reviews and rankings just like this one. And as always, thanks for watching.